The best way to bring folks together
Something has changed within me.
is to give them a real good enemy.
You're green. I am.
Something is not the same.
Something just takes over me. And when it does, bad things happen. Once you learn to harness your emotions, the sky's the limit.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, I'm going to be discussing what might just be one of the most anticipated films, not just from myself, but from a heck of a lot of people of this year at least, and may just be the second coming for a lot of musical theatre kids. Finally, in cinemas, is Wicked. Long before Dorothy arrived in Oz to befriend a scarecrow, a tin man, and a cowardly lion, the magical world of Oz was much different, as were Glinda the Good Witch and Elphaba, the Wicked Witch of the West. In this prequel, we see the beginning of their relationship and how things were not always as they seemed. From their school years to their eventual arrival in the city of Oz, we may know the classic story from one perspective, but Wicked puts the focus squarely on these two witches and the events that shaped their destinies. Yes, I love me some musical theatre. Yes, I have seen Wicked at the West End. Yes, I have seen it multiple times. Yes, I still get goosebumps every time I listen to Defying Gravity. And yes, I was really nervous that this movie just wasn't going to work. Especially when the news dropped that Jon M had decided that he was going to split this film into two parts. Now, that I can somewhat understand, you know, a musical, a show at the West End, it's done in two acts. But what I didn't understand was how part one in the show lasts for maybe an hour and 15, an hour and a half at most. And somehow they were adding on nearly an hour's worth of material because Wicked, part one, as it's credited on screen, is 2 hours and 40 minutes long. For context, that is the length of the entire stage musical. So first things first, I guess I should answer the question, was the length an issue? And I will be completely honest, there are a couple of instances where a few musical numbers felt very stop-start, especially for some of the numbers that have a very brisk momentum. It felt quite puzzling to me why we were almost hitting pause every 2-3 minutes or so. But you know what? There really isn't a great deal else that I would have either trimmed down or at least cut out of the movie entirely. Everything contained within the film is deliberately there to further either the world of Oz, Shiz University, or expand upon the relationship between Elphaba and Glinda. Hiring Jon M to direct this film was nigh on a stroke of genius, because as he accomplished with his film adaptation of In the Heights, Chu has a very keen eye for cinematic musicals and succeeds in retaining the authentic musical feel while also playing with visual storytelling to make it distinctly different. Chu has achieved sprawling musical numbers full of amazing choreography across dazzling practical sets and even moments of impressive visual effects. Most musicals rarely ever achieve such a title, but I really do mean it when I say that Wicked is a blockbuster level musical. The next stroke of genius is to do with the film's casting. Now look, I'm not blind. I see a lot of the memes about holding space and the fact that the two stars can't seem to get through an interview without bursting into floods of tears. Now normally, I'd be a miserable sod and I'd say, pull yourself together, it's just a film. But if I'm being completely honest, you know what? I'm actually willing to overlook it. I'm willing to let that go, because Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, I think they're perfectly cast. For Erivo, she brought an element to the character of Elphaba that in the past performances that I've seen of Wicked, I just hadn't ever experienced an element to that character that Erivo expresses so well. Because in the show, Elphaba is treated like an outcast, but she has a bit of a snarky attitude to get through it. In the film, there isn't much of that. She's still outcast. She's still very, very isolated and bullied for her appearance, but her response is much more twinged with sadness and pain. There is a scene that happens in both the show and the film where Elphaba shows up to a dance and she is essentially ridiculed for how she looks, and she responds by doing a bit of a quirky dance. Now, in the show, it's primarily a scene that is played for laughs. But in the film, Erivo and Jon M switch up those stakes so you feel the emotion absolutely heightened, and it results in a beautiful and touching scene. It also helps matters that Erivo has one of the best voices to ever don the hat and cloak. Belting out these powerhouse tunes just comes easy to her, meaning that she never seems focused on hitting those notes, and her attention can prioritize telling the story. I'm going to come out and say it, I don't think I've heard a better rendition of Defying Gravity than what Erivo pulls off here. I could harp on for hours about just how excellent that entire sequence was, but trust me when I say it brings the house down in magical fashion. But with the green, we must also have the pink, and floating in on a bubble as Glinda the Good Witch, or Glinda, is Ariana Grande. Now, when Ariana Grande was cast in the film, there were a lot of people who immediately jumped online and said, this is stupid stunt casting, she's not an actress, they've hired her because she's a famous pop star who admittedly can sing, but this just isn't going to work. It may have been a lonely island at points, but I stood atop that island and I said, I think she is going to nail it. And ladies and gentlemen, Ariana Grande nails this performance. And it's not that she just nails it. I'm not a betting man, but I am willing to put at least a few pennies down that in March, you will see Ariana Grande up on stage collecting an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. That is no joke. I do also think that Cynthia Erivo has a very good chance of being nominated too, but Best Actress right now is just such a stacked field. I see Ariana Grande succeeding more in the supporting actress field. Nailing all of Glinda's hilariously irritating attributes, but also exuding the same insecurities and love that she develops for Elphaba, there could not honestly have been a better person to cast. Her vocals are just inconceivable at points as to how a human being can reach so high. I say this about Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. They have cemented themselves as this generation's Elphaba and Glinda. I am sure that there will be people in the years to come that will always think of Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth in these two roles, but right now, there simply is no two actors bigger on the planet than Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande. This is huge for them. The excellent casting doesn't just stop with our two leads, though, because dancing through life as Fiyero is Jonathan Bailey. Now, Jonathan Bailey, I think it's a scientific fact that this man has charisma pouring from him. He looks like a star and is a presence that we're going to see in Hollywood for many, many years to come. Veterans like Michelle Yeoh and Jeff Goldblum also do a tremendous job in their slightly smaller roles. Look, their singing might not be the best, but it is their performances that help them carry it through. Goldblum in particular, he brings an element to Oz that I hadn't seen in shows prior, and I hope that is something that they can explore more on in part 2. Audiences will be fully immersed in the magical world of Oz because they have built practical, real, tangible sets. Shiz University, where much of the action takes place in this film, is stunningly well realised. The actors are there. They're exploring all the vast corners of this university. You, as an audience, you feel like you could hop on a plane and visit there over the rainbow. Elements like that add to the immersivity. And I'm not lying when I say that Just Elphaba and Glinda having their day-to-day at Shiz University, it gave me Harry Potter vibes. And I mean that in a good way. If I do have any negatives besides some of the stop-start of the songs, there are a few musical numbers that I don't find as memorable, but I'm not planting that as a fault of the film because I'm not really all that fond of those songs in the musical. I have to admit the film does a very good job of bringing those songs to life though, and it also does suffer from part 1-itis. This isn't a complete film. Story arcs, character arcs, they are left hanging. We're not yet at a resolution stage. That is going to come next year. But it does make sense to end it here because this is where Act 1 ends. It's a very enticing cliffhanger that is going to leave audiences salivating for the next 365 days. And my god, that is one heck of an interval. Wicked is as good as a fan could ask for, and perhaps a little bit more. Jon M has clearly put his heart and soul into lifting this world from the stage onto the screen and immerses the audience fully. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are spectacular, giving two iconic performances that will undeniably stand the test of time and serve as landmark moments in their careers. It's a feast for the eyes as much as it is a feast for the ears, and I defy anyone not to get swept up by the magic. So, I'm gonna give Wicked a 9 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those were my thoughts on Wicked. Let me know, have you had a chance to watch the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, I would like to know, what is your favourite musical turned movie? Now, I'm talking about a musical that begun its life on stage and eventually had a stage adaptation. So something like a Mamma Mia or a Phantom of the Opera. Definitely not Cats though, but that's all the time we have for today. So thank you very much for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.